Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really fascinating and honestly pretty mind-bending theory from an author named Xu Feng. It challenges the very idea of free will and suggests our lives might just be following a script we don't even know exists. So let's just start with a huge question to get us thinking. Is it actually possible that your entire life, everything, from who you marry to the job you have, is already laid out for you? Are the choices we feel like we're making really choices at all?
Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with a coincidence that is so unbelievable it sounds fake. Then we'll dig into the life program theory that tries to explain it. We'll look at another wild case, and then we'll ask, okay, so what does this all mean for how we live? Let's get into it.
To really wrap our heads around this whole idea, we have to start with a story. It's a famous case study that the author uses as like Exhibit A in his argument. And it's a story that will seriously make you question things.
So get this. This is the story of the Jim twins. They were identical twins, separated just a few weeks after they were born. They were adopted by completely different families, grew up in different towns, and had absolutely no idea the other one even existed for 39 years. But when they finally met, oh man, the similarities were just jaw-dropping. And this is where it gets absolutely bizarre. Look at this list. Both Jims, without knowing each other, married a woman named Linda. Then, they both got divorced and married a woman named Betty. They both named their first son James Allen, one just spelled Allen with 2 L's. They even had the same model car, smoked the same brand of cigarettes, and get this, they took their families on vacation to the very same beach in Florida.
So what do you even do with that? How is that possible? Is it just a crazy 1 in a billion fluke? Well, the author we're looking at, Xu Feng, he has a much bolder explanation. He says it's not a coincidence at all. And that's where this story leads us, right into the core of this whole thing, what the author calls the life program theory.
So the theory goes like this. A person's life journey is basically a preset roadmap. Everything, your name, your career, your relationships, even your health, it's all already laid out. It's like your whole life is a movie, and you're just an actor reading lines from a script you've never even seen.
Now, the first thing you're probably thinking is, okay, genetics, right? They're identical twins. But here's the kicker. The author points out that their adoptive parents were the ones who chose the names Linda, Betty, and James, and those parents weren't related to each other at all. So how could genetics explain that? The theory suggests some other force was influencing everyone involved. And to really drive this point home, the author pulls in support from some unexpected places, like religious texts. This quote, for instance, is used to suggest that maybe even the words we speak aren't really our words. Maybe they're given to us by some higher power, or, in this case, by the program. And look, this isn't just a one-off story from the West. The source brings in another case, this one's more recent, from China, to show that this pattern, well, it keeps showing up.
Meet Sun Ye and Lu Yan. Just like the Jims, they were sisters separated at birth, and they didn't meet for 30 years. And when they finally did, it was pretty eerie. They showed up with the same hairstyle, dressed in a super similar style, but the really big shocker was still to come. But here's the detail that's just unbelievable. The thing that ties it all together. Both sisters, living totally separate lives with zero contact, had independently decided to give their sons the same English name, Kevin. According to the author, this is just more powerful proof that even our most personal choices, like what to name our own child, might not be choices at all.
Okay, so let's just go with this for a second. Let's say our lives are already scripted. Then what? What do we do? What's the point of anything? Well, the author has an answer for that.
So the source lays out these 8 enlightenments, which are basically a guide to living in a world where you don't actually have free will. Let's dig into a couple of the big ones. First up is this idea of just complete and total acceptance. Good stuff, bad stuff, whatever's happening in your life, the advice here is to just embrace it. Joyfully even, because if it's all part of the program, there's no sense in fighting it. You can't change the script. Okay, now this next part is going to sound a little weird. You'd think if everything's planned, you should just sit back and do nothing, right? Nope. The author says the exact opposite. They say you should act on your desires without any fear, because your desires themselves are part of the program. So go for it. The success or failure was already decided anyway. And this whole philosophy really boils down to letting go. You let go of jealousy, you let go of regret. The author has this great analogy. If you're programmed to be a toe, don't get mad that you're not a finger.
The whole idea is to stop trying to control everything and just trust that there's a larger plan at work.
All right, so we've looked at these wild stories, we've gone through the theory itself, and we've even seen the how-to guide for living in that world. So where does that leave us?
Look, the stories we've talked about today, they're really hard to just brush off, right? This theory is unsettling, for sure. But in the end, this massive question, is our life already written, or are we the ones holding the pen? Well, that's something you have to wrestle with yourself. It's definitely something to think about.